Early morning, we made our way across the Nairobi-Mombasa highway toward Tsavo West National Park. The first stop along the way was Hunter's Lodge, a quaint little stopover point for weary travelers like ourselves. It was here that I loaded my Nikon F3 with that juicy Kodak Gold 200. I've seen a lot of people hate on Kodak Gold lately, but for me, it's cheap, the colors slap, and it is far enough removed from reality that it retains a little bit of nostalgia. Don't get me wrong, some of my favorite images have been taken on other colored negative stocks like Portrait and Ektar, but I feel that Gold is a perfect halfway point between Color Plus 200 and the more expensive Portrait films. It's the perfect film stock to take on a trip like this one. I took a few quick pictures of the pond at the lodge. As my dad pointed out, we saw some herons nesting up in the fever trees, which was a unique sight. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my Fuji X-T4 on this trip with its 100 to 400mm lens, so I couldn't really capture any of that. But I focused on capturing what was in front of me, these two pictures on screen. I think the soft early morning light really comes through in these two pics. While Hunter's Lodge is incredible and we could have spent the whole day here, we had to get moving, so we hit the road again. As with all road trips, there were photographic opportunities everywhere. We saw this old gentleman carving some figures on the roadside. He told us he'd been doing this for 30 years and I had to grab a portrait of him next to his artwork. As we were filling up fuel before heading into the park, I saw this very picturesque cow standing in a roadside puddle. The last stop before entering the park was the infamous Space Hotel, at least that's what I call it. I think this was from the 70s or 80s and it certainly looked like it held some pretty wild parties on the edge of the bush. Today it is abandoned and a police officer even told us to look out, as lions have been spotted in and around the ruins. Our entry into the park was smooth. I must admit that while I'd been to Tsavo East National Park several times, this was my first foray into Tsavo West. My grandfather used to bring my dad here all the time when he was a kid. Today we drive a rugged Land Cruiser. In those days, my grandfather used to drive a Mercedes saloon car in the national park. We made for the Shertani lava flow, which is just under 300 years old, I believe. The landscape was staggering, with this hardened lava stretching for miles. It felt like the outlands in Lion King, where Scar lives. Shertani means devil in Swahili, and one can see why this word was used to describe this place. Our lodgings for the night was the Rhino Platform, which is part of Tsavo Trust portfolio properties. The platform is simple, with a viewing deck and a shower. We had to bring our own bedding, mosquito nets, and of course food. But the place was truly wild and we had a brilliant view out front. In fact, we also made ourselves pretty comfortable. Name suggests, rhinos are spotted almost every night from this place. When you get here, the security marshal gives you a night vision thermal scope to help you see animals in the dark. While I couldn't capture it in the dark, we ended up seeing 7 black rhinos through the night. I highly recommend this place.